Hello and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I am your host, Miss Rebecca Jane Felgate, and we are getting freaky and creepy as we talk the top 10 scary hotels you should never stay at. I absolutely love traveling. I'm sure those of you that follow me will know that. I travel as much as I can. I absolutely love it. I love staying in hotels as well. I love the bathrobes and the mini bottles of things that I always steal. Sorry about it. The best hotel that I've ever stayed in was the Blackstone in Chicago. I absolutely loved it. I answered the door one day and they just brought me a cocktail. Let me know the best hotel that you've ever stayed at in the comment section down below and I will absolutely get wanderlust. I love it. If you haven't yet liked this video, then please go ahead and do so. Share with a friend. Subscribe to our family of almost 6 million. And if you want to read more about our sources, then check out the links in the description box where you can also find links to our most amazing Instagrams. Alright. When the hotel that inspired The Shining is on this list, you know it's bad. It's coming into number 10. We have the Stanley Hotel. So the Stanley Hotel was the place that inspired Stephen King to write one of the most horrifying novels turned horrifying films of all time. The resort is in Colorado and built into the Rocky Mountains. The building has a rich history of paranormal goings-on across the entire hotel, but in particular the 4th floor. The most haunted room is supposed to be room 217. This is the room where King stayed the night and was also said to have once been the site of an unfortunate explosion. This is what Stephen King said about the stay that inspired what is arguably his most famous novel. He said, "I dreamt of my 3-year-old son running through the corridors, looking back over his shoulder, eyes wide, screaming. He was being chased by a fire hose. I woke up with a tremendous jerk, sweating all over, within an inch of falling out of bed. I got up, I lit a cigarette, I sat in the chair looking out of the window at the Rockies, and by the time the cigarette was done, I had the bones of my book firmly set in my mind." Stephen King for King, I love him. Also, I will say, staff who frequent the concert hall at the hotel at night report hearing the whispered words, "Get out," which would deeply freak me out. Coming into number 9, we have the Taj Mahal Palace. Located in India, although not actually in the famous Taj Mahal, this hotel has a woeful backstory. Despite the Mumbai hotel being grand and beautiful, it is said that the French architect W.A. Chambers accidentally built it backwards and was so distraught that he ended up committing suicide by jumping from the 5th floor. Now, according to a lot of first-hand reports from staff at the lavish hotel, the architect still roams the halls at night. The hotel was also the site of a terror attack in 2008. At this point, the hotel was seized and 31 people were killed there. The hotel was back up and running soon after as a symbol of strength and resilience, but the memory of the attacks live on. Coming into number 8, we have the Drovers Inn. Ah, Scotland. I dream of you always. I would stay anywhere in Scotland, even here. The Drovers Inn is located in Invernanan in Loch Lomond. The Drovers Inn dates back to the 1700s, a time when things were really kicking off in Scotland. The inn is the best kind of hotel because it's also a pub with just a small number of rooms so you can get nice and cozy with those ghosts, of which there are many. Room 6 is said to be plagued by mysterious orb lights. A ghostly child appears in a pink dress on the staircase, and room 115 is haunted by a voyeur. It seems that a couple stayed in the room one night and were awoken by strange flashes. Thinking nothing of it, they went back to sleep. The next morning, when they were packing up, they found their camera out of place. Weird. They didn't think too much of it until later when they went through the pictures and there were some creepy images of the couple sleeping. The pair were freaked out as the room was locked from the inside when they went to bed, but nonetheless they called the inn to report the goings on. Now the inn responded and said that no staff would have had access to the room, and even if they had, they couldn't enter if it was locked from the inside. Creepy, although I'd still stay there just to be in Scotland. I love Scotland. Coming into number 7, we have Hotel GALVEZ. I have always wanted to go to Texas. I've never been, but I'm super keen, although honestly I'm keen to go everywhere and anywhere. But still, Texas is high up. Anyway, Hotel GALVEZ is located in Galveston Island on the Gulf of Mexico and was built in 1911. Over 100 years later, and the Queen of the Gulf is drawing in visitors, although it seems that some guests have never left. Rather than giving you a whole spiel like I usually would, I'm just gonna read you a TripAdvisor review from a spooked guest. Here goes. The hotel is so full of history and the interior is very beautiful. I didn't realise that the GALVEZ was known for its ghostly visitors, nor was I a believer, until now. My friend and I were walking the GALVEZ and my friend was calling out to Audra, a woman who hung herself in the hotel in the 1950s. Her room was 501 and we were staying a few rooms down. Anyway, we go to sleep that night and at around 5 AM I woke up and my hotel door is open and the latch is still on and I'm thinking, oh my god. We were intoxicated, so I guess we just left the door open. So I close the door and I go back to bed and I wake up at around 8 AM and I tell my friend that we left the door open last night. Then I get out of bed and walk over to the door to show her how far it was, and to my amazement, the door kept closing all the way. It just wouldn't stay open. It's spring-loaded, so I was confused. Anyway, that's my story of the GALVEZ. Blimey, this is what happens when you call upon spirits, I'm just saying. Coming into number 6, we have Murder Castle. What do you mean you don't want to stay at Murder Castle? Sounds lovely. So actually you can't, thankfully, stay here anymore. It's been torn down. H.H. Holmes's murder mansion has been demolished, but the site is now the Englewood Post Office. So I read The Devil in White City earlier this year before a trip to Chicago, and honestly it was really terrifying. H.H. Holmes was a real man who built a hotel in Englewood, Chicago in order to kill people. He booby-trapped the place so that guests couldn't escape their rooms, and he would often knock them unconscious using hidden gas valves. Many of the hotel's rooms were outfitted with chutes that would drop bodies into the basement, where Holmes would then dissolve them in acid to rid himself of the evidence. The infamous serial killer confessed to killing 27 people at the property, which housed tourists visiting the Chicago World Fair. It is actually anticipated that he killed a lot more than that. As many as 200 people were thought to have lost their lives in the building. Coming into number 5, we have the Russell Hotel. If you hear a creak in the night at the Russell Hotel in Sydney, chances are there's a ghoul on the loose or lurking in the shadows. The Russell Hotel is no stranger to mysterious midnight moans and groans, but the most enduring legend is of a spirit of a sailor who roams the hotel, but most often causes trouble in room 8. Guests have seen him lurking over their bed, staring at them in the night. That's a no from me, sir. Back on your ship. Okay, but despite the ghosts and everything, you should actually stay here because it's one of the nicest and most beautiful places I've ever been in the world. Coming into number 4, we have Fairmont Banff Springs. I went to the Fairmont Banff Springs earlier this year and it was absolutely breathtaking. The building dates back to 1888 and was a Grand Railway hotel. The building is a National Historic Site of Canada, but it is teeming with ghosts and ghouls. It is said that a secret room was constructed during the original build, which was only discovered when a fire broke out in 1926. Speaking of fire, some say a burning bride haunts the sweeping ballroom. The story goes that as she walked down a staircase lined with candles, her dress caught fire. In a panic, she tripped and fell, dying from a broken neck. Some say that her spirit haunts both the bridal suite and the ballroom, where she can be seen dancing with flames licking her dress. Also reported it's the spectre of a bellman who haunts the 9th floor, and an apparition of a bartender, and, get this, a headless bagpipe player. How that works? I mean, you go figure. The real deal here though is room 837. Legend has it that this is the room that a grisly murder took place in, and that guests who stay here are awoken in the middle of the night by screaming. Bloody handprints have also been spotted on the room's mirror. On the upside though, I will once again reiterate that this is one of the nicest hotels in the world and it's absolutely stunning, and there's a beautiful lobby dog called Bear. Coming into number 3, we have the Langham. The Langham is a beautiful and very fancy hotel in London. Shout out to my former hometown. The luxury 5-star rooms come with a hefty price tag and some extra ghouls. The hotel opened in 1865 and was said to have been the suicide spot of a German prince who jumped from the 4th floor. He can still be seen at the window he once fell from. A doctor involved in a murder-suicide can also be found pacing the halls, and none other than Emperor Napoleon III still haunts the basement. Room 333 is said to be the most haunted of them all, with many a spectre wanting a sleepover. The most famous ghost, inclusive to room 333, is a man in Victorian dress who likes to watch people sleeping. Whether or not it's he who shakes the bed violently at night, we don't know. Damn, I forgot to tell you about the ghost with the gaping wound on its face. Next time. Coming into number 2, we have the Stay on Main. There Here are 16 very good reasons not to stay at this cursed hotel in Los Angeles. Oh, and also don't let the new name fool you. This is the legendary cursed Cecil Hotel, most recently in the news because of the disappearance of Alyssa Lamb in 2013. The Canadian tourist was found dead in the hotel's water tank surrounded by her belongings after going missing for 3 weeks. CCTV footage was released of her acting very strangely in an elevator before her mysterious and to this day unsolved death. It literally looks like she's pleading with someone invisible, which freaks me out. Before her death, the hotel was already wrapped up in 16 other grisly untimely deaths. It's actually thought that the Black Dahlia, a murdered rising Hollywood star, stayed at the hotel before her death. Oh, and it was also said to be the home of serial killers Richard Ramirez and Jack Unterweger. I feel like it just needs to be knocked down and the grounds cleansed with holy water or something. Finally, coming into number 1, you've all heard of Egyptian curses, but we're a little far from Egypt here. We've got the Luxor Hotel. Las Vegas is a place for tortured souls, so it's kind of understandable that so many hotels on the Strip are reported to be haunted. I could legitimately make a whole top 10 list about hotels not to stay at in Vegas, but for this list I'm just keeping it to the one. Luxor Hotel is an Egyptian themed hotel, but it may have angered the old gods. Many people think that it's cursed. Why? Well, attention to detail was actually lacking when the hotel was built. The Sphinx in the hotel is facing east rather than west, and the building of the pyramid doesn't have the required eye on the top, which is just utter disrespect, right? The Luxor has had very consistently high death rates over the years since it opened in 1993, and a string of misfortune that's also surrounded it. Some people say that 7 people died whilst building the hotel. In 1996, a woman jumped from the 26th floor of the building and now haunts the lobby. Another man died while he drunkenly fell from the 10th floor. A hand bomb went off in the parking garage in 2007, killing an employee. In 2010, a UNLV football player dropped dead following a fight, and in 2012, a casino employee was murdered by her boyfriend, once again in the lobby. 2012 was also a bad year for the hotel's rep, as 3 guests caught Legionnaire's disease, with a further case reported in 2017. One of the guests even died as a result. Guests have spotted ghost riders in the boats along the replica River Nile. And in case that wasn't enough, it is thought that the Titanic exhibition at the hotel also invited ghosts from the cruise ship disaster too. Whew, I don't know how many I counted there, but that is a lot. And I think ultimately the lesson to be learned here is don't face your Sphinx the wrong way because, I don't know, the gods will come for you, probably. Good! Thank you guys for watching this video. What is your favourite hotel? Don't forget to let me know in the comments section down below. Perhaps you've had a spooky hotel ghost experience. I am absolutely all ears. If you haven't liked this video yet, then please do like it so we know to make more content like this in the future. If you haven't subscribed to Most Amazing Top 10, perhaps this is the first Most Amazing video you're watching, then join our family. We would love to have you. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate. You guys can catch me soon. We've also got a whole playlist, so stick around, but I'll see you next time. Bye!